Well, the People's Democratic Party's 102nd National Executive Committee meeting held in Abuja on Monday, and it resolved to zone its 2027 presidential ticket to the south. The zoning has paved the way for Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, former President Goodluck Jonathan, and other Southerners to challenge President Bola Tinubu in the next election. The party's NEC also upheld the current National Working Committee zoning formula for the November elective convention in Ibadan, Oyo State, as well as confirmed Umar Damagum as the substantive national chairman. Meanwhile, loyalists of the 2023 Labour Party's presidential candidate Peter Obi, including Obedient Movement National Coordinator Tanko Yunusa, say the former Anambra State Governor needs more time to reflect before deciding on his next political move. However, reacting to the zoning arrangement, the All Progressives Congress Director of Publicity, Bala Ibrahim, says the PDP is destined for defeat in 2027, no matter who it fields as the presidential candidate or the region he represents. Well, for more on this, joining us in the studio is Arise News analyst Dr. Sam Amadi and the Director, Abuja School of Social and Political Thought. Thank you for joining us. He's also being joined from our Overflow studio by Arise News Director of News and Politics, Somna Sambo. Thank you, Somna, for being on the news tonight. Well, I'd like to begin with Somna. You have covered politics for quite a while now, and zoning has been a problem when it comes to political parties in Nigeria. But the decision of the PDP on Monday, what did you make of it? It has generated mixed reactions. Is this self-sabotage, or have they really gotten on the right track?
Well, the PDP is trying to atone for its sins, especially in 2023 elections. And we've seen a situation whereby all eyes were on the party to actually zone its presidential ticket to the south, but it went ahead to open up the presidential ticket to anyone from every part of the country, and eventually culminating in Atiku Abubakar emerging as the flag bearer of the party after the autumn-led committee on zoning had thrown up the zoning. From this instance now, we have a situation at hand, and that's why we would be counting on statesmen to help ensure that the polity is properly guided. Because what's the principle behind zoning? The principle behind zoning is for the alternating of political power between the northern and southern zones of the country in such a way that we do not have a situation like it previously happened, where the north wielded more power under military and democratic rule. And when we came back to the Fourth Republic, the south was shortchanged. So, but as it stands right now, if we don't have statesmen emerging ahead of the 2027 general election, we may have a situation whereby, for example, the PDP throws up a Jonathan or a Seyi Makinde or even a Peter Obi, or the Labour Party throws up a Peter Obi and PDP has Jonathan, and then APC has Tinubu, and then you now have a major candidate, maybe like Atiku Abubakar, for example. Imagine in the ADC, then of course it will make mess of the zoning. So if we have leaders and statesmen, the best would be that if we indeed do want the South to continue in 2027, to ensure that someone maybe like Atiku Abubakar does not emerge as the ADC presidential candidate, but someone from the South emerges. But of course, then you have the issues of the Constitution. Atiku has a constitutional right, or any other Nigerian, to contest. But then if you have a northern candidate emerging in ADC and a prominent and popular candidate, and then you have the votes from the South being divided between Jonathan and PDP, for example, or Makinde and PDP, and then you have Bola Tinubu in the APC, and then you have maybe Peter Obi in the Labour Party, then Nigerians may be forced to vote within ethnic lines or religious lines or region, and then of course we may have a situation at hand in 2027.
Very interesting layout there, the dynamics that could play out. I mean, talk about political strategies. They should be engaging you, Somna. Dr. Sam Amadi, look, You heard what Somna said there. And he started by saying the PDP is atoning for its sins. But a PDP chieftain in the person of Hashim, let me get his name correctly now, Onawepo Hashim, actually said, look, what the PDP has done is to give Tinubu the presidential ticket or the presidency in 2027 on a platter of gold. That the PDP has gone against its tradition of leaving the ticket open and not necessarily zoning. What do you say about this and some of the dynamics that Somna has just explained to us?
I think there are some clarifications here. What Gwenga had in mind, smart analysis, is that factually, PDP has always zoned. That's factual. And that's why it's in their constitution that power should start on north and south. And people have argued actually that perhaps that zoning formula is inadequate. And people say South is, maybe it should move between geopolitical zones. I think Abacha was smart in a way that perhaps will come to reckon in proposing, Abacha considered was not accepted, in proposing power shift sharing between 6 geopolitical zones. Right. And timed it out one time each person and multiple presidencies. Now, what's the logic? In theory, it helps legitimacy in a plural society. We are, unfortunately, since 2014, our pluralism has become, wicked in terms of dangerous. The divisions are now kind of overemphasized, and so you have to stabilize the country. And those who think that zoning is anti-merit are not getting it right. The regions are a big pool to pick the best and brightest. So in the South, Tinubu is qualified to be president, Atiku is Jonathan, Peter Obi, Makinde, Amechi, Wike, every guy. So the zoning does not necessarily diminish the pool of competence. But what zoning does that merit may not do is that it aligns with the history and creates common ownership. Then you transition out of it when you begin to reason like, look, we really need a transformational leader. That's one. Number 2 is that the assumption really that if we open it up, we're suddenly going to have a transformational leader is also a joke. It's not true. It doesn't follow. So, I mean, we know how politics works. We know primaries. You are more likely to get a bad leader through a political process than a good one globally. Why is this so? Because of the theory of rationality. Right. The political partisans who elect delegates are not going out for the best guy. They're likely going to go back to somebody who pays them, who gives them quid pro quo, and so on. So I want to demolish the notion that merit-based so-called open primaries give you the better outcome. It doesn't follow. The second point here is, what will be the political outcome of this? So someone has given a permutation. So right. if PDP, just like APC, goes south, which it has, does it mean that if another party goes north, they necessarily win? I think it doesn't follow for 2 reasons. One is that there are those in the north too who feel strongly that zoning matters because they expect after this electoral cycle. I'll give you an example. Definitely, Malam El-Rufai is not running for presidency, okay? In 2023, the reason why the governors of the North supported Tinubu was largely, at least as they made it clear, was because they thought it was the right thing to do. Yeah. So now, only 4 years. So some of those guys will also feel like it should go to the South because they hope that in the next 4 years, they will be in a position to compete for that position. So contrary to what they are saying, zoning might not weaken APC or PDP or whoever goes on. And the other point to bear in mind is, look, we have to keep a nation. People forget how fragile this country is. Yeah. And the level of illegitimacy, not legal. Anybody who wins outside this perception of justice carries a big illegitimacy crisis. And it's going to affect government. So in my view, and the literature shows this is correct, a zoning power is a good way to stabilize politics and to create a sense of common ownership, which enables you to unleash collective commitment to governance. We are a fractured country, and let's forget politicians who want a career. Right. The truth is that we need to do something in terms of, zoning makes sense, and PDP perhaps is on the right track. Right.
Okay. All right, Sambo. I mean, when he highlighted those 4 lines, I was wondering, when has Nigeria never ever voted along ethnic, religion lines? But we've heard from Peter Obi party that says he's yet to make up his mind. We haven't heard from former President Goodluck Jonathan, but we have heard from his wife, who said she's not ready to return to Aso Rock Villa. Seyi Makinde hasn't openly declared, but my question is, now that the PDP has decided to zone the next 4 years, according to the NEC yesterday, to the south, what then should be their next biggest question to solve?
Well, the next biggest question is where exactly in the south should this ticket now go to? Because if you look at it in terms of geopolitics of the south, for example, the southwest has had 8 years under the PDP with Obasanjo. And then, of course, generally, in terms of the geopolitics of Nigeria generally, Tinubu has had 4 years now as president. He's going to complete his 4 years now as president. That will make the South having 12 years. And then, of course, the vice presidency in the country has also sat in the Southwest for 8 years with Yemi Oshibanjo. So if the Southwest, within the PDP politics, wants to actually contest for the presidency, people would actually want to question. And so that's why you see some people are already eliminating Seyi Makinde and saying that, look, in terms of the overall polity, the Southwest should not contest for the PDP ticket in PDP again. Because they've done 8 years of presidency, 8 years of VP, and then, of course, we have someone completing another 4 years. And then you come to the South-South. The South-South has done a full term and a few years, so like about 5 to 6 years under Jonathan. So then the question is, has the Southeast had the presidential ticket of the party? No. And that's why you see that someone like Alex Ekwueme in 2003 refused, to stay away. In 1999, he contested against Obasanjo, despite the fact that it was zoned to the Southwest. And in 2003, he still contested himself alongside Abubakar Rimi, Sarah Jibril, and all of that, because they feel that their own zones have not been done justice to. So as it stands right now, within the zoning of the PDP presidential ticket to the South, is the Southeast that desires justice in the PDP politics. And if you take a look at it now, can the PDP hand this ticket to someone from the Southeast? Maybe like the way people are calling on Obi to come back. There are some people who feel that if Obi is given, he may or may not be able to challenge Bola Tinubu or maybe an Atiku in ADC. So there's a huge challenge there. And that's why some people are saying maybe Jonathan is the only person who can contest and win a Bola Tinubu or defeat an Atiku Abubakar. So the dynamics will continue as to who within the South can actually get the ticket.
Right.
And
very quickly, Sumner, let's quickly, because we don't have time. Brilliant one there. Same question to you, Dr. Sam Amadi. Will the question of justice really arise as far as 2027 is concerned? And will that justice be done if you're talking about where it really should go to in the South?
Well, post an act of the possible, always guided by justice. Look, let's be very clear. Right. The last election, Tinubu won with 8 million plus, okay? Both Atiku and Obi got 6 million plus. And so the notion that Tinubu is not beatable is not true. Let's even assume everything less than election is true, okay? Elections are also incumbents run on their records, and so far the government is struggling. So look at the point here, and he's correct. Micro-zoning, that's why I said Abacha was right. We need to focus on getting power to move around. You see, we should look for the best in each of the zones. So maybe after Southeast or North Central or anywhere, you can't, at this stage, this country's formation, think in a lousy way about so-called merit. It's not here or there. For the last since 1960, we can count great presidents. It doesn't follow that if you do a merit-based primary, open everybody, you get the right result. That's not true. But that's something you achieve. We have to prioritize keeping a country together. And that requires justice. And so my point will be that PDP is on the right track. They should now conclude a deal and zone it properly and take the risk. Look, Nigerian voters are smart. Voters are not captives all the way. We've seen what happened in 2023. That young voters and many Nigerians across the region
PDP should
understand.
microzone to the southeast. Is that what you're saying?
I think that's what justice requires. But when I do that,
well, that's what the justice actually should require. That it should go to the southeast. But the fragility of the Nigerian states may not allow for that in the overall thinking of the PDP, because they have a Bola Tinubu to deal with, and Tinubu is not just coming from the southwest. He's an incumbent.
Okay.
But that's why I'm saying that let's be very careful. Statesmen have to come out here. It's the turn of the south. Can Atiku Abubakar be asked to step aside so that the south to complete its term?
You can win the election.
It will be difficult.
You win the election and lose the nation. So we need to win the nation. That's more important than an electoral cycle.
All right, so a brilliant place to leave it, both of you gentlemen. Thank you very much. Dr. Sam Amadi, Arise News analyst, and of course, convener of the Abuja School of Social and Political Thought. Somna Sambo is Arise News Director of News. Thank you very much for joining us on News.